The best way I can explain it, and maybe this is like maybe like too Hollywood, but it honestly really does feel like there's like a part of you that is just getting like weaker. It was difficult because your entire life your mom takes care of you, or from my experience with my mom, she was the biggest cheerleader I could have had, and she did everything for me. So then when the tables flipped and I had to help her and I had to help protect her, it was like really tough. And I don't think I really acknowledged it at the time, but it really did feel like part of me was getting weaker. And I think that was because I was starting to see the humanity in my mom instead of seeing her as like the Wonder Woman and the superhero. And that was tough. And that was like, that came with a lot of self-reflection, and it came with a lot of realizing that like life is it's hard to navigate. And sometimes you're just there for the ride and you have to do your best to hold on. At the time, my sister was she was pregnant, and all I could really do was try to get it like as much as my mom as I could, to kind of like tell everyone else about her. I asked her about everything. She lost her dad to a brain tumor, so I would ask her about him and like just gather as much as I could, to be honest. It is like bittersweet, because you end up building this like great relationship, but you realize that it's gonna end, and that was really tough. That was really tough, but again, I wouldn't change it for anything, because now I have a niece that I get to tell all about my mom too, and I get to do this, which is sometimes tough, but I talk about mom every day anyway. So my mom is really good at making people feel special, and like really good at making people feel important. I'd love to be able to give that. If I had that ability, I'd love to be able to do that. She always used to make people feel the best that they could feel, and that's kind of what I want to pass on. I want to pass that on to my niece, and kind of always remind other people that I run in with that like they are important, that like it does matter. And maybe one day when I have kids or something along those lines, I can hopefully be that for them. Just let them see that you can be important, and that you are important, and that you have the ability to make someone's day a lot better, and you have the ability to impact someone's life for the positive. And if I can do that, I think that'd be a huge testament to how my mom lived her life, and like how she wanted to raise me, even though I tried desperately hard to not listen to her growing up. But I feel like I'm slowly getting there. I don't think grief is something that anybody gets out of life without experiencing. I just hope I can use my experience to kind of shift the tone of it. Grief always isn't depressing. Yeah, like I cried and I was sad, and I mean I just did as well, and it's emotional and it's tough, but it's not always depressing. It's not always this sadness that sweeps over you. A lot of the hardest moments of grief has been through joy and through hope, and through those experiences of just realizing what she gave you without noticing it at the time. So if I could do anything, I'd like to be able to shift the lens of what grief is looked through. That is not just this depression or this like weighted blanket, but sometimes it's this thing that you can use to propel your life into a different direction. You can use it to help people, you can use it to relate to people, you can use it to hopefully just understand people better. I started thinking about using technology in a way to help people during the pandemic. Actually, I signed up for a software development program, and I was scrolling through Instagram very casually, and with aimless regard, and I came across this post of a random person in New York talking about his experience with COVID, and he was isolating. He lost loved ones. He couldn't leave his apartment. How tough it was for him to be alone. How tough it was for him to lose people and not be able to reach out. And I just started thinking, like, there has to be something that can kind of help. And Talk to Me app is it really just came from an innocent idea of, I was kind of tired of having these like really personal journal entries on my phone and having them just randomly pop up when I would open up a note app or something like that. So I would like to make an app where it's as private or as public, but it's away from all the junk. It's not just something that someone can just open up and accidentally read your journal entries. It's a place where you have a password to go into, and you have a password to enter your own profile, so that it's a very conscious action. It's a very deliberate action, and at least this way, it will open up the door for that. I just want people to look at grief and trauma in a different light. It's definitely difficult. It's definitely negative. It's definitely hard and difficult, but it just has these moments of, it really does have these moments of like peace, and there's grace, and there's beauty in grief. And I think if I can just make grief more convenient, less intimidating, and trauma, resolving trauma more convenient and less intimidating, and just kind of make those pathways a little clearer for people. And that's all I really want to do, just so that people know that they're not alone, know that they're not broken because they feel some way, or broken because they don't know why they feel some way. And if this app can just help one or two people, I would be really grateful.